In the spring, I was diagnosed with cancer. Not just any cancer, but the kind of tumor that grew slowly over the course of several years, laying a good portion of its real estate down on my airway, blocking both of my lungs almost entirely. Until one day I noticed I couldn't breathe. My diagnosis took months, but when we figured it out, it went from maybe I have some sort of weird asthma to should we airlift her to Mayo in the course of a couple hours. It was scary and confusing, but it was also such a relief to finally understand why I had been feeling so bad and suffering for months. And when my husband and I sat down with my doctor to figure out the next steps and take a look at that tumor that was working to take me out, I said to them both, I can't believe I recorded an entire album with this thing in my airway. And then my usually pretty stoic husband, he chimed in and he said, maybe you should have named the album Tumor Tunes. My doctor about choked on his mask, and then we all started laughing. We were laughing in that doctor's office about cancer. And the story only gets scarier before it gets better, but here I am. It's almost 5 months later, and 2 surgeries, one big old scar down the middle of my chest, and I'm cancer-free and more grateful now than I've ever been. But how, they ask me, did you remain optimistic? How did you be grateful? How did you know you were going to be okay? Weren't you terrified? Well, after I let my thoughts wander to the worst case scenario once or twice, I find that when faced with challenges, I always default back to that place where everything's going to be okay in the end. And it doesn't mean that I'm not aware of how bad it's going to suck to get to that place, but I convince myself that I will, and we will indeed all get to the other side, no matter what that side looks like. Having that mindset then frees up some space for things like laughing and having fun, because even in a crisis, the world keeps turning in all its beautiful and ridiculous ways. And I don't want to miss out on it while I wallow. But am I saying optimism is resiliency? In some cases, yes, but being raised out here in the rough country of Western North Dakota, I've watched enough calves be drug in from the storms. I've witnessed Mother Nature change the best laid plans, and I've been bucked off enough to be able to confidently call bullshit on that old phrase, get back up on that horse again. Because yeah, sometimes getting back up is the only way to get through, but other times resiliency means knowing when to put that horse out to pasture before he kills you. Knowing when to quit can often be the bravest thing we can do. So let's talk about that brave thing. Let me just say it here loud and clear in case nobody said it already. You don't have to be brave to be tough. In these times especially, it's okay to be worried. It's okay to be terrified. Sometimes in order to know what we're capable of, we have to be scared out of our minds. I know from experience. But what turns us from afraid to resilient is what we do about it. I wish I could ask my immigrant great-grandfather Severin about how he felt coming across 1,000,000 miles of ocean from Norway to lay claim on a property he'd never laid eyes on, or what it was like riding his bicycle 80 miles from Crosby to the homestead. 80 miles, cross-country. Think he was scared as a teenager on that ocean, wondering if he'd ever see his homeland again? Think he was scared raising 12 children with my great-grandmother out here on this unforgiving, unrelenting, unfamiliar landscape? I want to tell you a story here about Severin now. Once when a group of cowboys moved their herd of cattle across his land, they picked up a couple of Severin's good cows along the way and paid no mind to it. So Severin, he grabbed his walking stick and he followed them on foot for miles and miles until he met them at the pens. And as the cowboys watched up on their horses, Severin, long and lean and calm, he walked through the herd of cattle, sorted his cows off one by one, and then walked him all those miles home. And if I could ask my great-grandparents what made them keep fighting through the tough times, I bet they would say what my grandparents would say, and what my parents would say, and what I would say now to my kids. The good old Midwestern, you just do what you gotta do. But then I might add that if it's worth fighting for, it will give you a fight. And if that fight looks like sailing across the ocean or walking miles alone, then do it even when you're scared as hell. But sometimes the fight looks like asking for help. And you wouldn't guess it, but that might be the hardest part of all. But once you ask, you'll know what it feels like to have hearts wide open and arms wrap around you tight. And so then when you come up for air, screaming and kicking and ready to live again, you will know exactly how to pass it on. So open those arms, say a prayer of thanks, scream for help or laugh in its face, put it out to pasture or get back up again. Do what you need to do. Then take a breath, learn your lesson, and pass it on. She rose up from that dirt road where she fell off of that big horse, left a bit of skin from knuckles and her knees. But not a tear fell from her, not a single scared emotion, except for a kick and a gritting of her teeth. Oh, it ain't easy. Her dad rode up behind her, said in this world I could not find her. Another girl is brave and strong and free. You know when you fall I catch you, and when you're lost I bet you with all you are you won't even need me. Oh, it ain't easy, no. Oh, it ain't easy, no. If it were easy we'd find another way. If we weren't scared as hell, it's not living anyway. Let the hard times in, let them make us brave. Wouldn't want to learn a lesson any other way. Said behind those brown eyes is a woman who still loves you, looking at a man who would not let you down. He said when you smile I'm smiling, when you laugh I'm laughing with you, and when you cry I cannot bear the sound. Oh, it ain't easy, no. Oh, it ain't easy, no. If it were easy we'd find another way. If we weren't scared as hell, it's not living anyway. Let the hard times in, let them make us brave. Wouldn't want to learn a lesson any other way. Come on now, girl, the fall's not a sin. You might be broken, but you're gonna live. You're scared as hell, but don't you dare cry. Get back on that horse, get back up and try. Breeze moved past the curtains and that woman took her last breath. Then he took a breath right with her in that room. He said all good things go softly like a wave into the ocean, like a snowflake on a sunny afternoon.